finding products that are profitable to sell on Amazon. What do I mean by profitable? Let's, for example, say that you go to Walmart, you go to Target, and you find a cute toy for $10. And the same exact toy, it's selling on Amazon for $25. So what you would do is you would buy from Target or Walmart at $10 and you would ship it out to Amazon FBA, or you can also sell it yourself. And when somebody buys the toy that you're selling on Amazon for $25, cha-ching, you have just made a nice little profit. And as a rule of thumb, you want the product that you find to be about half the price that it's selling on Amazon. Why would somebody in the right mind buy that product on Amazon for triple the price? The convenience and the fast shipping. I do this myself a lot with products that I need right now, and I can't wait either to go to the store. And number two, they just don't know that it's available at a cheaper price somewhere else. Most of the people out there, you have to remember, do not compare prices with different retailers. And they assume that the price on Amazon is the absolute cheapest price that there is. Amazon recently lost a big shipment that I had, and it cost me a lot of money. I sent out a big shipment of hundreds of units, and then Amazon could not find it in their warehouse. And I've heard that this has been happening a lot to many sellers lately. And then when you reach out to Amazon about it, hoping that they will compensate you for it, then Amazon, instead of doing that, they just delegate it to UPS. They say, reach out to UPS, they will help you. And then what happens? You reach out to UPS, and no, nobody at UPS wants to help you. And thousands of dollars worth of inventory on that shipment that was lost at the warehouse, that's gone forever. Lately, I've been seeing an uptick trend from Amazon buyers returning faulty inventory, and they seem to be doing this on purpose. So, for example, I buy a cheap Lego, I sell it on Amazon for a nice profit, and within the 30-day return policy that Amazon offers, I receive it back, and the Lego is completely destroyed. And then I reach out to Amazon and I'm like, hey, I just received this item, it's completely destroyed. Can you reimburse me for it? And Amazon will always side with the buyer. They will never ever side with the seller on these issues. And again, this produces a big loss. If you're selling, for example, a Lego that is worth $800, and that has happened to me. I've been selling very expensive Legos, and then you get it back at home and it's completely destroyed. That's, I don't know, $400 or $500 loss in inventory cost that you cannot do anything about. Meanwhile, if you ship it FBM, there is a few things that you can do to reach out to Amazon, and Amazon will usually side with you. They will send us a picture, and they will at least partially compensate you and reimburse you for the damage. I'm running. Speaking about Amazon, look, an Amazon delivery truck. I don't want to get run over here. The trails, and I'm looking for a little shade because I am roasting under the sun as I'm talking to you guys. This is by no means a get rich quick scheme or anything like that. It will take time. It takes a lot of time to grow your Amazon business. But eventually, it took me about a year and a half until I was able to do this full time and for it to replace the income that I was having. I already had my own business. I wasn't working for somebody, but I was making good money with that business. Eventually, replace the income that I had with that business, and I was able to do this full time. And so do thousands upon thousands of sellers every year. You have to start somewhere and you have to start small. A question that I usually get is, how much capital do you need to start selling on Amazon? And my answer is, so as I was saying, on Amazon, you can start slowly reinvesting that cash flow that you get from the tunnel is over, by the way. That cool echo is gone. That was fun though. So you can reinvest those profits. Now, Amazon will pay you, as a beginner seller, they will pay you twice a month. So you will have to wait about a month and a half. And Amazon will hold some of your money back as cash reserves, just in case there are refunds or returns. Amazon will start paying you, and that will be your spare money to continue investing. So next time you go to Walmart or Target, instead of finding a $10 product, now you're going to find a $20 product and sell it for $40, $50 on Amazon. And then next, if you have absolutely no capital and you want to start super small, like with $10, so next paid, you're going to get paid $20 profit, and you're going to continue rolling in the cycle. Of course, if you have big capital to begin with, your chances of scaling your business way faster. So instead of taking 2 years to make this your full-time job, then it might take you 8, 9 months. But always recommend that you start super slow. And why do I recommend that? I recommend that you start super slow because at the very beginning, I would say in the first 3 to 5 months, you're going to make a lot of mistakes and it's going to be overwhelming. Trust me, it's going to be overwhelming. When you first learn Amazon, there are so many intricacies and so many little details, and you make things right. But suddenly you make a tiny little mistake, and then that made a huge error on, like, let's say if you're using a repricer to automatically reprice your product, and that can literally cost you hundreds of dollars in 5 minutes if you made a little mistake. Or you may have a certain policy that Amazon is very strict with their policy, and you might have been selling a brand that doesn't want sellers on their products, and now suddenly you receive from Amazon what is called an IP. And once you receive that, they flag your account, and it's a whole drama with that. So anyway, if you start very slowly, then chances that you're going to minimize the mistakes that you're going to be making. And when you make less mistakes, what happens? You make more. What I like the best about selling on Amazon, the free. Before selling on Amazon, I had a successful business for a few years. And before doing that, I lived like most people in the world do. I had a corporate, and I went to college, I graduated. And after graduation, a sequence of corporate jobs. And I was very good at it. And I made really good money at it. And I would say that corporate jobs since probably years, 15 years of living the corporate life. And there are good aspects and bad aspects of working for somebody else. The good aspect, of course, goes without saying, is to get a guaranteed check every single month or twice a month. That relieves you from a lot of stress of wondering where your next dollar is going to come from. When you own your own business, when you are an entrepreneur, and selling on Amazon full time is owning your own business, if this is what you're doing all the time. A lot of risks. First of all, you're investing your own money. You are buying a lot of inventory. It's very similar to owning a brick and mortar store. Let's say you own a toy store. And when you're owning a toy store, what do you have to do? You have partners with toy wholesalers. So you are able to get toys for, let's say, 30% off on the retail tab. And then when people come in to your retail store, you charge 30% more. And obviously you have costs, renting the place and all that, but you are making a good maybe 15, 10% profit margin that way. But what happens if those toys don't sell and you are not able to return those toys, the wholesaler that you purchased from? Now you are stuck with all, and it could be tens, it could be hundreds of thousands of dollars that you have invested of your own capital in this. And until they sell, you will not see another penny. Meanwhile, when you have a corporate job, you have a guaranteed paycheck. Now, the risk of a corporate job, of course, you work for an ad agency, and the ad agency only has two accounts that they represent, and that's comprised all of their total billings per year. Two accounts that they represent. And let's say they suddenly lose one account. That amounts for 50% of their total billable per year. And that's exactly what happened to me in one of my jobs. I was working for a small agency, and they suddenly, and the CEO came around lunchtime and say, guys, I need to have a meeting. And in that meeting, what was discussed was we lost one of the big ad accounts. And that meant in five of some of the staff layoffs. Well, fortunately, I already a job lined up, or somebody that knew me that was willing to hire me immediately. So when they came over to lay me off, I was like, no problem. I already have another job lined up. But for many of the people that were working at that ad agency, they suffered a lot. In many of the scenarios, they maybe half a year, maybe 1 year. And I know in most cases you get, at least in the United States, you get unemployment. But unemployment is only about 30% of your full salary. So what do? If they have a family with children and suddenly you are late and you can't find your next job? Well, now there is a waiting period and you are progressively getting more and more desperate to find your next job. There is a certain level of instability. The thing that I remember I didn't like about my job, in one of my jobs, I was in sales. And if you ever worked in sales, has anybody worked in sales here? In you guys? Well, if you ever worked in sales, you know you have to undergo either weekly, every 3 months, or every semester, what is called a one-on-one sales performance review. And this is where you sit down with your boss or bosses and they go over your numbers. What is your sales funnel? Uh, who is in your sales funnel? I think there was a bee trying to get me. I'm hearing this, and I hear like either squirrels or bees. One time I thought that I saw a bear around here. So as I'm talking to you guys and roast in the almost summer sun, I'm always keeping an eye for big animals that might eat me. If you see a big animal, shout for help. Anyway, so you sit down with your boss or bosses and go sales performance review where they start asking you questions. Who's in your, what's your projected in the next 3 months, in the next year? And just like a public company does, that it needs to constantly prove itself to its shareholders, like let's take or Tesla or whatever, they always need to prove that moving the forward year to year or semester through semester or month to month. Shareholders want to know that their money that they have invested is constantly growing. So when you work in sales, it's the same thing. You need to prove that if you did $1 million in sales last year, it needs to be at least 200,000 more, 20% progress. And if you're falling behind in your numbers for XYZ reason, product is not that great, then what happens? You start getting some heat from your superior, and that may place you at risk. So, as you can hear from me, having a corporate job, which I had for about 50, also has its risks. And having a business also has its huge risks. When you have your own business, it's all the money that you have invested in capital. Also, there are things that could go wrong. There are fires to be put off. Amazon may be restricting your products. Amazon may be deactivating your account. Amazon may tell you that you can no longer sell on a brand that has been extremely profitable. Amazon may be returning products to you that are completely damaged and they will not reimburse you for that. So there are a lot of things that can go wrong, and you may a little sleep at the very beginning of your Amazon journey. That's why I always start slow. Don't get greedy. It's so easy to get carried away and get greedy. I'll tell you, when you start making your first sale, and that means that you just profited, let's say $10. You're like, oh, I just made my first sale. And you start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And you're like, wow. And then you start, head starts going into the space. If I find 100 more of this, and I just made, let's say, $10 profit on one product, if I sell 100 per month of the same product, I'm going to be making $1,000 additional income just from selling on Amazon. So it's very easy to get carried away. And what happens next? You go back to where you purchased your product. You're going to try to find 100, 1,000 of those products. You're going to buy it all, spend a bunch of money, and for any reason that is completely unpredictable to you, something happens, maybe competitors come in the space where you have to lower your price, or they kick you out of the listing, and you can no longer, and now you're left holding all this inventory. If you'd have gotten excited, but use your head and be like, okay, I'm not gonna get carried away. I see the potential here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the source. I'm gonna buy maybe 10 more products. I'm gonna see if, and in the meantime, I'm gonna continue learning all the ropes, and I'm gonna see if I find other products that may also be profitable. That way, I don't put all my eggs in the same basket. Because what happens when you put all your eggs in one basket? The eagle might come and eat. So, meanwhile, if you put one egg here, one egg there, the eagle comes in and go get your other eggs.